It's my pleasure to introduce to you Haifa Alhusseini, who was born in Beirut, Lebanon on November 21st, 1967.
Now they know my age.
It's right here. She is the fourth of 8 children. Haifa started her career as an interior designer after graduating from Lebanese American University in 1992. Then she opened a recruiting agency with her brother in 1996. In 1997, she met her husband, Nabil Alhussieni, and moved to Livonia, Michigan, where she had her first child, and then her second after moving to California. After staying home with her 2 children for 4 years, Haifa and her husband decided to open a tax business, Liberty Tax Service, where she gained an in-depth understanding of taxes. 4 years later, they moved to Washington and started a new venture called Cafe Louvre. I want to tell you also my impression of Haifa. She always has a huge smile and these gigantic blue eyes that when she looks at you, you feel like you've just gotten a big hug. And if you love art, you need to go to Cafe Louvre because there's always a rotating set of art from local artists. So without further ado, Haifa.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm going to start saying marhaba. Marhaba means hi in Arabic. And I'm going to say bonjour and good morning for all of you. I was born in Lebanon, as she mentioned, a long time ago. And there's some pictures about where I came from. A lot of people don't know what Lebanon is. So there's some facts. I'm going to go through it really fast, just for as an introduction about where I came from. So, and I did my homework. Usually I don't do that, but I did it last night. So some facts is Lebanon is over 7 million old country. It's one of the oldest civilization started there is the Phoenician. So I came from the land of Phoenician, and we talked with John last time about like opening a business is something people want to do, but for me, I was born with the idea that business is part of what I do. I never thought about working for anyone. It just came naturally because of my heritage, my family, and everyone around us does the same thing. There are always challenges. We work really hard educating ourselves, paying a lot of money for our education. And Lebanon considered one of the countries that 70% of the income will go to education. We don't have a lot of public education, so people take it so seriously because they're paying a lot of money for it. So there's one of the fact that there is more Lebanese outside Lebanon than inside it. And the statistics said there is 4.5 million Lebanese in Lebanon, and there is at the same time 18 million outside it. So this is how we live our life. We go to good schools, then we pack our bags. And the thing is about this Middle Eastern culture is different than any country in Middle East. For the way the structure of our government is completely different, which we're liberal and democratic. So religion is not part of what we do in Lebanon specifically. So people can learn languages, so we blend in any society is easier than other cultures in the Middle East. We have more like, we're open to the West, so we learn Western society faster. We learn their languages faster, because if you go to Lebanon like today and go to pick up a taxi driver who's maybe finished elementary school, he can speak with you English. It doesn't have to be good English. It can be French, English, Italian, whatever he can learn from the street. But they know how to like learn new stuff as a survivor skills. We don't have oil, so we depend on the human resources. It's important to build personalities and build people who are able to invite other cultures to come and spend money in tourism. So as you see, there are some pictures behind you. It shows a variety of different places in Lebanon We're very rich in archaeological sites. There is almost statistics. Lebanon is one of the most populated countries in its archaeology. So one of the most important castle of Jupiter in the valley in Lebanon, it's still there, and it's so beautiful. And in fact, that Beirut as a city was built 7 times from earthquake. So there's so many layers of archaeology over there, and very interesting. So I'm going to start now now you know where I came from. We don't have camels or desert. This is a fact people should know. And people always ask about Middle Eastern if they have it. So we have mountains and beautiful beaches. I'm going to start from the beginning, how things started. I'm one of the people who lived the civil war in Lebanon in 1975. So we lived as a family. As a lot of people, we lost everything. Like people lost their properties, they lost all their income, and then at the same time, there was new countries starting, like Newbies, Dubai, and all the Gulf area, Qatar, and Bahrain. So most people start to look to move to these countries for safety and for more opportunities. It was like the new world for us. We moved to Dubai, lived there for 8 years. And for people with experience in business like my dad, he was able to start from $200 to a lot of money. There was a lot of opportunities, as I said. So, and I witnessed the way things were going, like living the war make you more like rounded person. You don't take things for granted. My generation was one of the most hardworking generation because the necessity of life was like taken, and then you have to learn how to survive and appreciate everything that you have. So it makes you a more flexible person, appreciative of all opportunities. Then 8 years later, we went back to Lebanon, and just watching how my family do things. We have family business, of course. I never worked for a person in my life, ever. I don't know what the employees do. So I usually make decisions and go for it. Of course, I had to do business with my dad. It was like 2 generations. I was proud graduating from university. He was old school, and we always have disagreement on the way to do things. I learned a lot living in a house where my family was involved socially and politically in a lot of things going on back then when there was different parties and the people fighting for a lot of things. So I witnessed my family organizing social events to get all these people in one place with different opinion. So people were sitting in one area and they may kill themselves, each other in other areas. The whole purpose was like doing more volunteering and donations to build the country when it was really, the situation was so bad. So I learned, but I didn't know that I was learning. As a young person, like I was not very appreciative or just this specific thing when my dad would tell us you have to be there with us meeting certain senators or certain great personnels. But now I appreciate it. I take pride that I was part of that. You learn as you go, and this is something that I'm really happy that I did. I appreciating everything in my life. So things were taking like a bad turn, then suddenly out of bad things, good things are going to happen. Meeting my husband back in Beirut when, I'm going to say this was my faith to meet with him. He's my soulmate. Love him to death. I still like him after 20 years. And he's like wine. He gets better. Yeah, he is. So my husband is a wonderful person, and I'm so lucky to have him in my life for 20 years. And I'm going to keep him longer. Don't tell him that. So we met back in Beirut, and we moved here to Livonia, Michigan. It was a cultural shock. A lot of people ask me, aren't you happy you're in America? I came from a crowded Beirut city when things like my expectation when I come to United States is to come to Las Vegas or maybe Los Angeles. I came to like a plain area. It's all snow, and all the houses are separate. There's no traffic anywhere. So it was isolated for my taste. So Michigan was one step, and moving to different parts of the country was one of the best things we ever did. I used to call ourselves like gypsies. I didn't have a home back then, so any opportunity will come, promotion or anything, he would ask me, what do you think about it? And I would, let's go. It's a new venture, so let's go for it. So we moved to Rhode Island, stayed in Ohio for a little bit. Any promotion, I'm ready to pack and go. We bought a lot of houses in 20 years because every time we think that we're going to settle, then move. I was counting yesterday. In 20 years, we moved around 14 houses. 5 of them that we bought. So it was hard, but at the same time, I never thought about it before. Then moving to California changed our life dramatically because it was a familiar place for us, and the kids were growing in a place that we are really happy with. And having a business was always something we want to do. It's like our Lebanese background, like, we need to have business, something to lay on. My husband always worked for big companies. But he would come in with an idea, let's open a business. And sometimes I don't like the idea, but since we're gonna start it, I have to commit to it and learn about it. Because even if you hire people who are very experienced on whatever you do, investing in anything should be hands-on for me. That's how I understand things. So when I learned taxes, I never saw W-2 in my life. And I'm serious. I didn't know what 1040. I used to sign on it, and he will take it to the accountant. So from nothing, I learned taxes in 1 year. Then I started sending girls in off-season to go home, and I was doing all complicated taxes. So learning things is not really this hard. It's just when you have a reason to learn it. And I had a reason because I don't want people to be controlling what our financing and our productivity in any business, even if they're going to do it for us, but I need to know everything. So we sold the business after 4 years coming to Washington. And after all these years, I found home. This is the place that I want to live in all my life. We found family, we found friends. Everything was what I want after all these years. So some stuff happened by accident. We were just lucky that it happened to us. But I feel like everything we do in life is meant to be this way. Sometimes you make decisions, but because there is a bigger power that wants you to go this path and for things to happen. So starting at Café Louvre was partially was intentional, and some of them just were by accident. I liked the location. We were buying a franchise business, but franchise business was falling because Tully's was bankrupt, but they didn't announce it. And we tried to get a hold of these people. So we had an idea of opening coffee shop, and it was Tully's. Then when Tully's didn't answer us, we were left with agreement on a place. We want a coffee shop, but we have nothing. No design, no product, nothing. So we just put our head together. We complete each other in business aspect. I'm the art part of the business, and I'm a hands-on. And Nabil is very good with building a business, and he did it many times. I learned a lot of things from him. So we came up with the design. Didn't take much. We hired the right people to do tasting. we ended up getting the best products that we, for our knowledge. And it took like maybe a month or so to go through all of that. We had a business plan, and my background in interior design, I was able to plan for the place. We didn't put a lot of budget into it because we were capable like to do many things. So Café Louvre came to life. We didn't go crazy with that. We just took baby steps. Since we opened 5 years ago till now, things are in a steady and in a good progress. And a lot of people would ask me, like, why coffee shop? So my answer is, why not? Anyone can open any business if they put effort in it and treat it with love, enjoy it. Whatever, if you're not enjoying a business, maybe you should quit. If you're not enjoying your job, maybe you should quit. Because you're not going to be good at anything if you're not liking it. And I have a lot of vision for what Café Louvre has to be. I don't want to be real. It's not about money. And maybe people would say that, but I'm serious. It's not about money. It's about, I want this place to be like a trademark. I want people, when they come just to visit, it's associated with Edmonds. Art, in culture, combination of a lot of things. I love this place so much that I'm ready to work 12 hours as I do now, and I'm really exhausted today, but it's okay. But the growth of this place is like raising another child, and I'm so happy day by day. And at the same time, I don't take myself seriously. Like, people may come and compliment, like, oh, you're doing a good job. No, I'm not. I still have a lot of things to do. I'm not done yet. It's not over. And what I promised myself is I'm gonna be there all the time, because now the pressure is harder, because I feel like I put so much effort on it, and I can't let go for other people to take care of it. I'm still gonna be there. Any questions? I'm done. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, how do you make the cannolis?
Oh.
I know you told me.
Yeah, well, I don't make cannoli. I take a lot of credits for many products. I know how to eat well. I know I have good taste in food. So whatever we pick at the shop, like the soup, a lot of people want to convince themselves that I make it. I can make better soup maybe, but I'm not making it. I buy it from a good vendor. Like, I pick the best products, because if we don't like it, we're not going to sell it. It has to be top of the line of everything. We don't compromise the quality. We don't compromise anything, because one unhappy customer is a terrorist. That's what they call it. So we try not to make anyone unhappy. So Kelly can only make it.
There's a lot that Haifa didn't say,
Uh-huh.
I will say. One of her employees, when I was there about 6 months ago, was fixing my drink. Haifa wasn't there. She said, Haifa is absolutely wonderful to work for, and she is such a hard worker. I thought, wow, that's what you want to hear.
This is sweet.
That's
Thanks.
the environment that you created.
Thank you. Yeah, they're like my kids. Some of them are older. I don't want them to be my kids. But most of them, when we were doing the interview, there's something I didn't finish, but I just want to make it clear. Every time people will come to the shop, they ask every single person. Some of them are Asian, some of them are black, some of them are from different backgrounds. They always ask every single person, are you her daughter or her son? And I thought, like, they don't even look like me. What they're talking about? Like, I have one daughter and one son. So finally, after all of these years, I realized that these kids act that this place is theirs. They're like owners. They act like owners. And they're very confident on making decisions. Like, I would give permission to girls if someone not happy redo the drink or pay for stuff. And I'll be so happy when someone came to the shop and said thank you because one of your girls was kind enough. Didn't have my wallet and she paid for my drink. And this is the attitude that I want my girls to have. Like, it's not just about a smaller profit and we'll go. We talked about like this place is more like a part of the community. And we look like admins. We represent admins in a way. So I'm really happy to have these kind of employees.
Haifa, pick something with lots of competition. There must be 7 competitors of coffee shops.
Uh-huh.
Edmonds, right here.
Who's comparing? I don't know if there's comparing. Okay, I'll tell you something, and this is my mentality. When people would come and tell me, "Hey, you know, your stuff, your seats, your food is better," I don't want to hear that, honestly, because I never visited any coffee shop in Edmonds. I don't know what they do. But sometimes people will come and volunteer out of they love us, so they tell us stuff. The minute I'm going to start focusing on other people, I'm going to lose my focus on myself because human's nature, you can get emotional about stuff. Maybe one incident happened that someone did something and it wasn't good, but it took a lot of energy from me that I don't have to waste on other people. I do my best. And I give example about when you go back in like a typical souk in the old days in Middle East, you go to one whole building full of the same industry, like gold. You go to 100 of gold sellers, but people will go in and pick one person. Sometimes it's about the product, sometimes about the price, but mainly because you go to your person. And I know for the fact that maybe I'm going to be a little bit optimistic on maybe 80% of my customers are just Café Louvre customers because they found something that they like. They look like us. Our customers look like us. And some other places, they offer different things. So it's good to have competition. I like that I have competition. Any other question?
Do you still have music sometimes?
Well, we stopped the music for different reasons, but yeah, everybody knows about it in Edmonds. Well, I'm hosting different kind of music. I want to be picky about what to come to my shop. So we hosted the Frank DeMiro with the Snow King Chorale recently, and we hosted the Snow King and Seattle Jazz Singers. So this is what I want. Some people came to me once and said, the music you have is not like for public consuming. It wasn't good enough. But I didn't really care. What I care about, even if someone is not a good singer and they want to sing in my shop, I would say yes as a person, as a relationship. But if someone I don't like as a person and he doesn't have good attitude about it, or bash me in the news, I'm not gonna let him in anymore. Just because I don't like his attitude, not because he's singing. So I'm gonna announce every time we have something. Most of the time we're doing with Art Walk, we have some musicians, and the big events I'm gonna announce it.
So Haifa, regarding coffee, what was the most surprising thing you learned as you know, built your business and had to go out and find your own products? What was surprising about the whole coffee industry?
Well, me and my husband, both of us are hardcore coffee drinkers. So we drink Turkish coffee. You can go stronger than that. So if you you want to compare of your knowledge, then you learn new stuff. We did something. I think it was a good idea to do it. We hired a consultant, and we decided to spend the most money on someone with experience to walk us through stuff like that. Because even if we know how to operate business, we know a lot of things, but we're gonna depend on the best in the industry. And but we did the tasting. But coffee business is one of the most simple coffee. You just have to do some homework. You have to research stuff and pay attention to all the information you're getting. I think it's the easiest so far out of whatever we learned. Plus, it's a happy business. Yeah, how bad you can go with a cup of coffee? You can redo it, and it's not gonna cost a lot. Doing taxes, well, on the other hand, was you can't mess with that. Any other question?
Back in 1975 or around there, I was involved with a fellow named Petros from Beirut.
Uh-huh.
And he went back to Beirut the next year, and then I got word that he was killed.
Uh-huh.
And I guess he had been identified as a Christian. Someone came to his place and shot him dead. Is
Mm-hmm.
that the environment back in there those days?
Well, you're gonna hear a lot of stories. It's like if something, any place will get more than the actual thing. I lived during like the hardest war ever. Then I was able with my family to leave where the war zone and go to a vacation home. I'm serious. And then you lose track of what's going on because uh, back then in 1975, there was a lot of messy things going on. Christians and Muslims killed each other out of there was the Black Saturday. A lot of people were dead at that day, were killed. And they were stopping them, and it was out of anger. A big incident happened. But it's not really common to stuff like that to happen. But there was the Black Saturday. A lot of victims didn't make it. But the Christians and Muslims, you see, you hear and see it in a different way because you're far from what's going on. We have a Jewish, but Christian and Muslims in the same university, and we used to sneak to each other's. Oh, there was a lot of stories out there. We used to sneak to the other area where there is a lot of danger, but as young people, we're just curious to know what the difference between both of us. So people, it was more like politics at certain times, and it was more like whoever in charge during the war were like even assigning time to when we're gonna start shooting. It's their job to do it. Mostly, if you don't have enough resources to escape certain areas or you don't have options, unfortunately, you're gonna be a victim like everywhere else.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.